What's going on, guys? This is Coach Chris from CH2 Training. I'm going to teach you how to get faster in the next 5 minutes. Getting faster is a big thing for sports, obviously. I don't think there's any sport that you can play where getting faster is a downside. So this is exactly how you can do it. It's 3 simple steps without any fluff. So number 1, we have to get generally strong, getting stronger, right? So what does it look like to get stronger within context to becoming faster, right? Because even though powerlifters are super strong, we wouldn't look at them as fast as people, right? So we got to get strong enough to a certain point. That's the biggest thing. We're lifting weights for speed and just overall sport performance. We're not looking to become as strong as possible. We want to become as strong as possible in context to our sport. So many times that looks like maybe getting stronger at a back squat, right? And truthfully, it could just be any squat variation. You could do a back squat. You could do a front squat. You could probably do a split squat. And honestly, I've been using this a lot for myself and my athletes. We do a lot of machine squats too. That could be like a hack squat or a pendulum squat. That's also a good option. The big thing to remember is we have to get stronger because especially with acceleration, that's what acceleration is like the first 0 to 20 meters of a sprint. It's all about how much force you put into the ground. So if you're not strong enough, like let's say you're a high school athlete and you can only back squat like 135 and 45 pounds on each side, then you're probably missing out on some significant strength gains that can help you produce more force into the ground and be faster. So generally, anyone would say like anywhere from getting your back squat up to 1.75 times 2 times body weight, that's a really good place to start. That's not a hard number. Like when we stop, the biggest time we stop with getting stronger is when we have to start really pushing the weight numbers. What I mean by that is if it takes you from beginning of the year, January, to December, and you can consistently go up until you take your squat from 135 to 225. And then if it takes you a super long time to go from 275 to 315, and that's when you stop chasing the strength gains. When you have to really expend a lot of effort and energy into getting stronger, that's when I would say you're strong enough. But if every week you could add 2.5 pounds, 2.5 pounds, 2.5 pounds every week, progressively overloading, then that's a great time for you to keep going because you're probably going to still see gains. But once you get to that point where you're really like having to try these new techniques and expend more energy and take away that energy you could do on the court or the field, that's when you're strong enough. So the only time I would say you are strong enough is when it takes you a longer time to keep getting stronger. But for most athletes from ages 8 to 18, you have so much time, you have so much energy to expend to get stronger, so I wouldn't even worry about that yet. So once we get stronger, generally strong to put more forces to the ground, next we have to start doing a bunch of plyometrics. Plyometrics are one of the best ways to increase our fast twitch muscle fibers, right? So plyos could be like different types of jumps, right? We can have jumps where we're going more vertical jumps. Vertical jumps, that could be like hurdle jumps is a good one. Hurdles. Or maybe you could add in some weighted jumps. Those are great too. That's another vertical one. We're doing some max effort jumps like jumping and touching the rim. What we're trying to do with plyometrics is we're trying to increase our ability to be super explosive. Because once we get stronger, we have to add things to express that strength, right? That's why powerlifters may not jump as high, is because they never really trained in this plyometric fashion of expressing their force super fast. So let's say, this is why French contrast works really well. So let's say you do a back squat, right? And then right after that, you rest like a minute or two, and then you go right into some massive or vertical jumps, jump as high as you can. So you're getting your body super strong, and now you're teaching your body to express that strength in a vertical motion. So that's another one you can use. You can also do some horizontal jumps too. Horizontal jumps. That could be things like broad jumps. Another good horizontal plyometric could be like sled sprints. Those are great too. So what horizontal jumps is, those could really help with horizontal force production, which is really important for acceleration, that first 0 to 20 yards. But all these are great. We want to be teaching we want to get generally strong, and then we also want to teach our body to explode horizontally and vertically. So let's say you're lifting 2 to 4 days a week, I would have one day where you're doing more vertical jumps, like hurdles, weighted jumps, and another day doing more horizontal stuff, broad jumps, sled sprints, things like that. It's really important just to increase our overall movement capacity and being a well-rounded athlete. Let's get you generally strong. Let's teach you how to jump in a lot of different ways. Some other good ones too are like single leg hops. Single leg hops are really good. Doing some bounds. If you're looking at your workouts and it has a bunch of stuff like this, then you are on a really good track. What we don't want to see when we're trying to get faster is doing things like ladders or anything like that. We're doing these high knees in place. Those are great maybe for like a warm-up, but when we're trying to get faster, number one, we got to get stronger. If you're doing a ladder, you're not working on putting forces to the ground, you're just working on moving your feet fast. We get stronger we get faster by putting more forces to the ground. Same thing with like those fast high knees and all those other silly things like that. We're not working on our plyos, we're not moving super fast. We're not expressing our force that we got from our strength and producing it super high vertically or super high horizontally. Those other drills are done super sub-max. We don't want to do those, right? And then lastly, we have to sprint. This is the most important thing. If you are trying to get faster and you're only getting stronger in plyos, you will see good results. But if you want to see the best results, then you have to work on your overall sprint speed and sprint. So I would say doing things like 10-yard flies, right? Flying 10s. Flying 10 is when you do a 40-yard dash, but you only measure the last 10 yards. That's how you can accurately test your miles per hour, which is really important, right? A really good flying 10 would be anywhere from, say, like a 9.9 to a 0. Or a 1.05. That's a really good for a flying 10. So this is really important for sprinting. If you can find a way to get timed, like I invested this time, I'm a coach, I invested in an OVR sprint system because I want to time my sprints to be super accurate with my athletes, right? So this is how you build a complete sprint program. So you have to make sure you're sprinting. This is the most important thing. If you're going to do anything on here, it will be sprinting maximally. Try as hard as you can. We're not jogging. The reason why we get into that sprint maximally because we're actually timing it and making it more competitive and more game-like for you. I would say you should be sprinting at least anywhere from 2 to 3 days a week maximally. And with our sprinting, we have to make sure that we're resting. A lot of times athletes make this mistake. They just run back down a field or a court like 10 times, and that's not speed training, that's more conditioning. The difference between speed and conditioning is we are resting maximally. If we sprint super hard for 40 yards, we should be resting 4 minutes and then work on that speed again. So if you want to get faster, these are the 3 things I would say you got to work on. We got to get generally strong. Back squats, front squats, split squats, machine squats like hack squats and pendulum squats, do those. Throw in your plyometrics, your vertical plyometrics, and your horizontal stuff like hurdle jumps, weighted jumps, max effort jumps, horizontal stuff like single leg hops, bounds, sled sprints, broad jumps, and the icing on the cake. The most important thing is you got to sprint. You got to get outside, find anywhere, get to some grass, get to a hill, and just sprint as hard as you can. If you could time yourself, do that. Or if you could race a friend or a teammate, do that too. So if you're in the Harrisburg area and you want to get faster, I can teach you how to do that. I can pretty much guarantee you get faster in the next 8 to 10 weeks if you come and train with me. So if you're interested in that, DM me the word train. I'll set you up with a free training session. If not, see you guys in the next video.